Welcome to the Rough and Rowdy podcast. I'm Ron, your host, and it's Wednesday, May 21st. Usually this would be shop night, tires, pick up tires, go to the shop. But we have a week off, so I was just doing a little maintenance on the late model. Still have a bunch of work to do on the cars. I'll go through that with you guys in a little bit. But yeah, so we have a week off at Seekonk. Oh, sorry. We have a week off at Seekonk, and well, our team has a week off at Seekonk, but Rowdy always finds something to do. So rumor has it that he will be doing double duty this Saturday at the Waterford Speed Bowl, which unfortunately I'm going to miss because I'll be in Vermont with my wife visiting. I call them my outlaws, my wife's mom and stepdad. But it's always nice to get up there, relax a little bit, a week off from, racing, especially, doing the two cars. It's been a lot of work, but I have to hand it to Rowdy. He's been in the garage a lot. I mean, pretty much every day. He would be here today, but he's over at. Hold on 1 second. I gotta get some stuff. I got some cheat notes. Some cheat notes. So he's over at Ayla Martin Motorsports. You guys must all know the East Coast Collision Trucks. They're at the Seekonk Speedway, towing cars off and, doing that stuff there. Bobby Martin, his daughter, Ayla, has been racing Bandoleros, and she did some legend racing last year. She's going to be doing some more legend racing this year. But Bobby had this year bought a late model and pretty much did what we usually do when we get a car, just bring it right down to the chassis and and then just go through everything, and I know Bobby, everything's the best of the best. So, which is cool, so she's 12, right? And Jacob, Rowdy, he's been coaching her, the last maybe year or two with the Legends and working with that team on testing and stuff like that. So back to the late model. So they got the late model together, and we had a set of tires here that and maybe had 5 or 6 laps on them from last year. We ended up with an extra set. I don't know how that happened. Usually you're struggling with tires. But so they tested. They went to Seekonk and tested and ran some laps. And like I said, she's 12 years old, and she was wheeling the car around the track. You can watch it if you go to their page on Facebook, Ayla Martin Motorsports. You'll see some clips of videos of her going around the track. Excuse me. So that's pretty cool. I don't know if she'll be doing any late model racing this year. There was some talk about maybe going to Star. I guess Star lets younger drivers in the late model division because it's not NASCAR sanctioned. So Seekonk, I believe you have to be 13. So anyways, Bobby was nice enough to offer Jacob a ride, or Jacob persuaded him one way or the other. So they're at the shop now, getting the car ready, swapping out the seat, adding some lead, and then and I think tomorrow they'll probably put a setup in it, and hopefully be ready for Saturday. So he'll be hopefully driving that car in the late models there. And I don't know if you guys remember last year, he did a couple of races in the Black X 21 Rat Racing, Rob Vitale owned Legend. And he did pretty well in that. He almost won a race in that car last year. And I got to, say, and I don't think it makes a difference, but everybody thinks it makes a difference. But Rob has the old 1250 air-cooled engine in that car, and since they had those motors, they have changed to the FZ09, and then now it's the MT09, as you guys probably all know. So he'll be racing that car and late model, so a little double duty this weekend since we're off at Seekonk. So if you guys, anybody out there that wants to go see some racing, head out to the New London Waterford Speed Bowl for Saturday's racing. They always have a good show there. I always like going there. The Wednesday night shows, the Wacky Wednesdays, it's pretty cool. I like going. Well, I like going. They got usually have a pretty good Legend turnout, and usually go there on a Wednesday. Not every Wednesday because usually here in the shop. Anyway, so want to talk a little bit about this weekend's race and racing. And before I go there, I want to just say I'm going to probably cut this show a little early because my buddy Justin Vieira is going to be going live at 7 with the Side Draft podcast. It's like revamped this year, which is pretty cool. He's going to be doing like more like all sports. I know his son Justin Jr. Is in the flag football league, and he's one hell of a quarterback. I watched some videos of him throwing the ball, and I'm like, spiral right there, bang, he throws it, and guy caught it. It's like, wow, kid has some amazing athletic abilities. I think I read on one of Justin's posts that he's going to be doing some baseball also this year. So that's pretty cool. It'll be a good, versatile show that'll have, some, some kids sports. I don't know if he's going to be doing any other like professional sports or not. I'm sure he'll still do a little bit of racing, but it's pretty cool. And now Justin is a veteran at podcasts. I'm just starting out. I got my cell phone sitting here, and that's it. I have no intro songs yet. I struggling just to get online. I tried. I'm not sure right now if it's working. I was trying to link the YouTube with the Facebook. So hopefully I'm on Facebook right now. If not, then I guess I'll try again. At some point, I'm hoping to get Justin down here and help me get some stuff set up so that I can have a little more professional setup here. But it's all good. You guys get to, either way. If you don't see it on Facebook right now, you can go to the YouTube channel, Rough and Rowdy, and watch it. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. And it's free to subscribe. I'm trying to build up enough subscribers so I can go live direct from YouTube. Right now I'm using another app called Restream, which is I don't know. I went online, Google stuff and figured it out. So that's good. But yeah, so Justin will be going live at 7 o'clock. So I want to cut out a little early, give everybody a little break. Do what you got to do. This way you guys can get relaxed, get in a good, comfortable chair or wherever, and put Justin's podcast on and watch that. It's going to be a great show. I know his first show back, he's going to have his son Justin on it. He's going to be talking about, what he's doing and how he likes it. And I'm sure that's going to be a good show. So don't miss it. 7 o'clock, Side Draft Podcast. Make sure you watch it. Yeah, so like I said, I was doing a little bit of maintenance in here. Just before we start talking about the racing, I'm going to I'm gonna take you in the garage a little bit over here. I want to show you. I just started. I was just blowing out the car, cleaning. The late model. This is just the late model now. Get you. So it's not the Pro Stock. I haven't even blown that car out. That's going to be a whole nother pile. I'm sure it's going to be double this. But you see on the floor right there, that pile of rubber. I mean, that's a good amount of rubber. That was all inside the car. That rubber there, So what I do is get in there with the air gun, we blow it out, get that all blown out, and then I haven't finished yet. Get under there. I like to use the Simply Green. You mix the Simply Green here with I think half and half of water. You dilute it because it's concentrate, and then I put it in a spray bottle. I've used I don't even know what this one. I don't think you can see this one anymore. What it was, but I used to use this stuff, but I put it in this bottle, or there's an empty Dawn bottle I have. I just like the way this one sprays. See it? See it? I don't know if you can see that. Pretty cool. So so I go under there with that, some rags, wipe everything down underneath the car, And when you're doing that, you can find leaks. You can find maybe a loose wire, whatever. It's very important. And who wants to work on a dirty car? I mean, you clean it, and this way, when you're working on it, your hands stay clean. You're not all dirty, greasy. So that's a big thing here at in our team. We do the maintenance. We make sure that we don't just leave the car in the trailer. Okay, so we're going racing Saturday. Pull it out on Friday. Go, okay, let's fix this dent. Let's fix this. All right, throw it in the trailer. Let's go. No, it doesn't work that way. Not if you want to have some success at the track. I mean, nothing worse than having a good car and then having a mechanical failure, or I don't know, a piece of dirt in your eye. No. Anyway, yeah. So we're doing a little bit in here. I'm not gonna do too much more though. I'm gonna do this podcast, and then I'm gonna make sure that I'm done in time to watch Justin's podcast, because that's going to be a real good show. I know it is. And so anyway, I wanted to talk a little bit about this weekend past races at the track. So we had another, I say, phenomenal weekend. Rowdy finished first in the Pro Stocks, back to back. And podium finish with the late model, finished third, and he was coming at the end. But it's a lot to have two cars there, So if everything's going good, you don't have any issues, you go back and forth, you're changing tires, you're putting fuel, talking lug nuts down, making an adjustment here or there. But once you throw a wrench into the whole operation, and what I mean by a wrench is something goes wrong. Okay, so everything was, everything. I was going to say everything was going good, but I'm going to lie. Jacob went out in the first practice with the late model and said he was feeling a little bit of carburetor issue, and he was in the middle of the corner trying to get on the gas. Burp a little and fart, a little. Like, I don't see it, but when you're a driver, you hear all these things, you feel all these things. So we had Nat Chevitone come over, our engine builder, and take a look at the carburetor, did some adjustment, put the timing light on it, see what was going on. So, we set the floats in the carburetor. He went out, he said it was still doing. I always bring a spare carburetor to the track, so we pulled that carburetor off. We put the other spare on for the second round of practice. He came in and said it wasn't, hesitating or burping or whatever he called it. but it just didn't have the power the other carburetor had. It just didn't have it. I think that we ended up running that in the heat race. I think we ended up running that in the heat race because wasn't sure. And, so um, at any point we were changing carburetors back and forth. We took that one off, put the spare on. So then for the feature, we ended up putting the one we initially had on. He said it was better, you know, having that little bit of hesitation and burping than running the other carburetor that didn't have the power. So so with all that happening back and forth, he comes in from the heat race and the pro stock, and he's like, I'm losing the brakes in the pro stock. Is you know, it's not where it was. It feels like I have to go, you know, halfway down with the pedal, you know, to get the brakes working. So we had that issue. So while we were fixing or trying to just, you know, we have to fix it. We have to actually change the master cylinders. That's what we're going to do because I think it's a master cylinder issue. So we filled it up a little because there was no leaks anywhere, like coming out anywhere that we could see. So we checked the cap. Maybe the cap, something was going on with that. We ended up just putting rag around it, taping it up for the feature. And while that was happening, we're getting ready to call it the late models, and we had wanted to make an adjustment on the car. And you know, this is where I say, where you can't, you know, when you have two cars and everything's going, you know, you don't have any monkey wrenches, it's great. Threw that monkey wrench with the brakes in, didn't have the time to make the proper adjustment we wanted to make on the late model. So we ended up just, you know, doing something quick that, you know, probably helped a little bit, but not what we needed. So we went out, the car was tight. It was tight in the middle of the corner. You couldn't just, you know, roll through the corner. And everybody knows that CCON, you got to get the car to roll through the middle of the corner. If you're not rolling through the middle of the corner, you know, it's just, you know, it's going to be a tough race. So, anyways, we didn't get to do that adjustment, which, you know, it is what it is. You know, we still got a third place finish. You know, he wheeled that car to the end. You know, and it was getting close at the end there. You know, when Luke and Charlie were banging and bumping there, I honestly thought that they might have they were going to take each other out, and we were going to just, you know, roll through victory lane. But they held on to it. They ended up finishing. You know, Charlie ended up winning the race. Luke finished second, and Rowdy finished third, which was pretty awesome. So, and then the pro stock, we went out, started 10th, and you know, Rowdy did what he does best. You know, he's patient. He's always looking way ahead of what's going on. You know, he's looking, you know, 4 or 5 cars up ahead. He already knows what's going to happen before it happens, and he's ready to make his move. And then he put a hell of a move. He went to the bottom on the 22 mark, and that's when he got down, and he was able to, you know, get clear of the traffic, and then he just goes to the outside and gets that car wound up, and it was really no one that could touch him that night. You know, hopefully we could do that every night, but you know, racing, you know, you need a lot of luck. And right now, I guess we have a lot of luck, and we have a great driver. We have a great team, awesome crew chief, Timmy Potter. He's been doing a hell of a job. You know, when we made the change this year, I can't lie. I'm not gonna lie. I was a little nervous. You know, I didn't really know Timmy. I know Mike had told me, Mike Vanessa, our crew chief from last 3 years. You know, he was like, this is the guy. You know, if I'm gonna give you somebody, I'm gonna give you this guy. And you know, yeah, you know, he knows his stuff, you know, and it takes a little bit of time with, I mean, building trust with anybody. Any relationship, I think, any relationship you have, it takes a little bit of time to build trust, So I'm sorry. I don't know if there's any comments. I can't see them on this app. Hopefully, once I get the other app up and running, it, um, get it up and running, I can be able to see, the YouTube up and running. I'll be able to see the comments, be able to answer your questions, do a lot more stuff, which I'd love to be able to do. I'd like to get a lot more people involved. You know, uh, you know, I don't get to see a lot of the racing when we're at Seekonk because right now with the two cars, we just I get to see the late model and pro stocks. I don't really get to see the trucks and the sportsman division, which kind of sucks because I like watching them. They're great divisions to watch, really good racing in there. With the legend Rick Mon in the truck division, uh, I don't know if anybody does what he does, 100 some odd number of wins in all different divisions. And then you got the sportsman, you know, uh, Pepe, Pepe, the show, the showstopper, 3, 4 wide, and how much more excitement can you get? Get the fans, on the edge of their seats when he's out there. So it's pretty cool. Try and get more people to come to Seekonk. Last week, with the advanced auto parts, and thank you to them for what they do, for Seekonk and for all of us that race there, sponsoring the advanced auto parts, the NASCAR advanced auto parts division there that we race in. Hats off to them. Thank you guys so much, for what you guys do. It's a big help. But back to the speedway, seeing the fans in the stands was great. To see more and more fans in there, and I urge everybody that goes to the track. You got to have friends and family that has never been to the track, and oh no, I don't know, I don't like that. Hey, it's another night. It's a night out. Something totally different. You go out to dinner. You go watch a movie. You know, there's only so many things you can do. You go to the speedway. You watch some racing. I know they have the thrill show this weekend. Tons and tons of people will be there. I wish we could do the same numbers they did. That would be incredible. Something about those thrill shows, I don't know. The people love, seeing, the spectator drags and those, I don't know if they have the figure eight racing. I remember back in the day, we used to have the figure eight racing. And I'll tell you, those things were scary. I raced in one, and it's scary. Crossing that, cars coming both ways. And if you're crazy, you just keep it to the floor. You don't know what's going to happen. And I know they got rid of the demolition derbies. But I haven't been to a thrill show in many, many years, but they're, pretty cool. And if you're going to go, you got to get there early because they pack the stands. But I really like to get the, the Saturday night fans there, to get it back to where it was, I think, we get more fans in the stands, it helps the racing grow, it'll bring more cars to the track, I believe it would because, you have more fans, more people wanting to get involved in racing. They see it. They're like, oh, I like to get involved. How do I get involved? Or I want to get my kid involved. Oh, yeah, well, you can start here on a Friday night. When your kid, I think it's 8 years old, I'm not sure, get them in a bando and start them racing young. You know, um, Jacob started, real early in the quarter midgets, but I mean, 8 years old is still young to start racing. So, you can get them involved, and then we start getting those drivers that move up to legends, or right from bandos to late models or to a sportsman, and getting the Saturday night shows. and build up, the car counts. That's what it needs to do. We need to build up car count. We need to get more fans in the stands. And I think that's more like, the fans that go there now need, I don't want to say step up, but yeah, you go there, and I'm sure you talk to a lot of people like, oh yeah, the racing was great, and they're like, I don't know. Drag them in there, Say, listen, I'll pay your way in. Tell them, and go and watch the show, and I guarantee after they watch a Saturday night of racing, that they'll be like, hey, thank you for taking me. They might not be hooked. They might not come all the time, but it might be something that they say every a couple times a year. Hey, hon, let's take the kids. Let's go to Seekonk. Hang out there. Can buy them a couple of little flags from the concessions over there, and they have some pizza, popcorn, whatever, and enjoy the racing. And I know the kids love it. Some of them don't even watch half of the racing anymore. They're running around playing, but still, it's a good night out, something different. So like I said, we have a week off from Seacon. Next week we have the pro stocks are off, but we're running the late model, and I'm not 100% sure, but Rowdy might be running a Sportsman. I guess it's a double duty year for him. I don't know. He I got he loves racing. I just don't even. It's not love. Love is probably even not even a big enough word. He's just crazy. He just wants to drive. Wants to drive whenever he can. So this weekend, Waterford and the 91 Ayla Martin Motorsports. You can go on their Facebook page and check them out. You see the car, and and also he will be racing a Legend with that team this year. The number 13, his old car, it's going to be white and like purple and pink this year. So they're going to be a team. It's Brody Wakefield, Ayla, and Jacob in the Legends. I'm not sure. They have some bandos. I'm not exactly sure. I don't want to say something I don't know. But so they'll be doing Seekonk every Friday and Waterford on Wednesday night. So that would be really cool with that. See how that team works out. So that covers some of the racing. I told you about what happened this weekend. We got a little bit to do on the lead model. Pretty much finish. I got to finish wiping it down underneath. Like I was telling you about, cleaning it and nut and bolt it, and pretty much. I don't think there was a scratch on it. I don't think we really put a scratch on the car. Just got to wipe it down. The rubber off it, and then we'll scale it, and we'll be ready for the following week. The pro stock I haven't even started that yet, but like I said, we have 2 weeks, so relax a little bit, get ready, and then go like gangbusters again. So everybody who just joined, welcome to Rough and Rowdy podcast. I'm Ron, your host, and we've been just talking a little bit about what's going on, what's coming up in the next upcoming weeks, and it's pretty cool. Let me see, I could put this over here. So some pretty cool stuff. So it was a triple crown for the pro stocks last week, and I actually got 2 trophies. One the Triple Crown trophy, which I'll show you what they look like in a second. And we got this cool one, right? I don't know if you guys can see it. This one right here. This trophy right here. Really nice. Advanced Auto Night Pro Stock Division, first place. So I thought that was a nice, pretty nice trophy. So we're just, and if you look up here, we got some trophies from the other week. I'm starting. I need to make another shelf for these trophies. Right now we have, as you can see up there. Yeah, up there we have. I had built a shelf last year for some trophies. I'm gonna build one just like a little bit below, just enough where we're not gonna hit our heads on it, and then I'd like to fill it up this year. What do you guys think? Like to see that? I'd like to see us fill it up. Yeah. So I just want to show you. Yeah, we got this. Pretty cool. We got this. This thing, which I thought was pretty cool. And hold on, let me get the flag here. Flag. Yeah. Look at this. Little advanced flag. That was pretty awesome. I think we're gonna figure out a spot we're gonna hang it. Thinking about up over here, up above the bumpers and spare parts up there. Thinking about maybe hanging it up there. Thought that would be a cool spot. That's where Jacob suggested. So I thought that was pretty cool. And yeah. So yeah, I want to tell you a little something. I know there's guys out there that got all these fancy jacks. They buy those $1,200, $1,500, $2,000 Brunswick, whatever. I don't know what they're even called. And buy those expensive jacks, which is pretty cool. If I had money, I just wanted to, spend on stuff like that. I'd rather put it to, stuff that helps the car go fast. But really cool. And I'm sure you guys have seen them. I'm going to pull you guys off this stand for a second. So if you see these, see the jack right here. I don't know if you guys can see it. Let me see. See the jack? Yeah, the Daytona jack from Harbor Freight. See it? Yeah, there it is. I'm botching this pretty good, huh? So Harbor Freight. So this one here is brand new, if you can see it, right? Brand new, right? So what I have is I have two of them, so that if one goes down, we have the other one. But lately we have two at the track. It just makes it easier. But so you buy the jack. I forgot how much they were, and then get the warranty. The warranty is like 2-year warranty for $75. So I just brought one back. All right, so I brought it back. It really wasn't anything wrong with it. They even told me, they said, don't even matter. You bring it back, doesn't have to not be working. We'll just give you a new one. So wait, a year and a half or whatever it is. You go there, you bring one back. So, and then they give you a brand new one, which is, cool. So now I got another brand new jack here, ready to go. And where's the other one? I don't even know. Oh, the other one's over here. So the other one's on the other side. Oh, here's the other one. So when this one starts going, I'll bring it back, in about a year and a half, and I'll get another new one. So that I just keep rotating them. I just keep rotating them until I have to buy another warranty. So that's pretty cool. So if you guys are looking for a jack, Harbor Freight has these jacks. I wish I knew how much they were, but they're not very expensive, and sometimes they have them on sale. You're not spending $1,000. I think they're like 300 bucks or something stupid. It's not even, they're not like as lightweight as those, $1,800 jacks, and they go down. They're pretty low. If you see, like, they're pretty low. They're not like I've seen some of them that they're like those real nice jacks. They're like flat, slide it underneath like with no, if you have a flat, you can't get under there or whatever. But yeah, those are pretty cool for the money. I think they're a really good investment. For just a local team, you're not doing if you're not trying to get my chair set here so I can sit down and talk to you guys a little bit more. You're not doing NASCAR jack. You're not under court. You know what I'm saying. Under time, you gotta get in, bang, boom, carry the jack. So for what we do, I think those are great jacks. I mean, so yeah, definitely good for the track, good for around the shop. So my opinion. So you guys, whatever you guys want to do, you do. Um, so I wish I had the chat open so I could answer some questions, talk to you guys a little bit more. Yeah, so yeah, we had some brake issues with the Pro Stock. I just ordered 2 new master cylinders from Jimmy Kuhn. You guys are looking for parts. Uh, he has all the parts you need. If he doesn't have them, you can order them. He's it's great. He does a lot for me. Like I'll order some parts, and then Timmy. I'm sorry, I don't know his last name, but I've known him for 100 years from the track, so I should know his name. But Tim works up there, and on his way back to Westport, sometimes he'll stop at the shop, drop off the parts, which is awesome. But he's like about an hour away, so it's pretty cool. And he's a local guy, so if you're looking for some parts, anything, he's got bodies, he's got brakes, he's got anything you need for a race car, he has it. You know what I mean? And he also does some work on the cars and setups and stuff like that. You guys are looking for that. But yeah, he's a good guy. You guys all know Ryan Kuhn, right? Is his son who races. He has the Everett's Pro Stock, and then he runs the Pro Truck. So yeah, if you guys need anything, Jimmy Kuhn, he's the guy. Give him a call, get the parts, and sometimes he's at the track on Saturday, so he can bring them to you. If you don't need them like right away, or if it's something you want to just change quick at the track, he has them. Wheels, whatever you need, he gets them. So it's pretty cool. And he's helpful too. You have a question about something, he'll help you with it. It's not like he's trying to hide any information. He's like, yeah, you need help with that. Yeah, this is what you should do. Try this. Do that. Our first week in the Pro Stock, we were struggling. That sounds stupid, right? But we thought we had a 486 ring and pinion, and we had a 411. Right? Should have checked it, right? But and I guess that's what we were told. I have no idea. So anyway, we get to the track and we're running, because we didn't really get any practices with that car. We went to the practice once and we had a leak in the water pump, so we didn't really get to practice. We had to go back to the shop, pull the water pump, put new gaskets because we were practicing that Saturday. And we were there Saturday and we're struggling. We're like, what the hell's going on with this car? I'm thinking it's ignition, because supposedly we had the right gear. And so back to Jimmy, we thought it might have been an ignition problem. So he gave me the whole MSD coil package that he had a used one. And he said, here, take it, use it, see if that's your problem. And which was cool. He let me use it, and then give it back to him. It's awesome. But so what it was, we thought it was that. So I changed that after the practice on Saturday, because we were just couldn't get the car going. We're like, I don't know, 15. No, we're not 15. What do we do? 12 eights over there. Yeah, 12 eights. And it was like, just couldn't get it. We're consistent, but 12 eights, So we're like, I don't know what's going on. When you look at the tap, we're only doing like 5,400 RPM. We're like, this is wrong. We should be like, 62, 65, somewhere in there, whatever. So we're like, maybe we could try some gear. Well, we were there Saturday. I said, well, I'll try some gear. I ran back to the shop. I got a different gear, a little bit more. So now we're thinking we have like this crazy amount of gear, and everybody's like, hey, that's way too much gear. That went out there, was still struggling. We still couldn't get it over. Like we had 5,500 RPM. So, like I said, I thought it was maybe the ignition. So we came back to the shop, checked the fuel pressure, make sure we had enough fuel pressure, which we did. I swapped out that ignition for for Sunday's race. Yeah. So everything was all set, and it's funny. Me and Jacob took the gear that we had swapped because we figured if it was ignition, that if we put that other gear, we're gonna have way too much gear. So we took the gear out, put the original gear back in, which was only giving us like a 474 final drive, which is no good. That's more like for like Thompson or something. But so Jimmy was the one who told me, it's how you check it. I mean, I've been around racing a long time. I'm more of a car owner than working on the cars and setup and stuff like that. More like management and own the car. And I did some racing back in the day, and another show we'll talk about my career of racing. I always tell Rowdy he won more races that other night when he did double duty and he won both races. I said, you won more races tonight than I won in my whole career. And he laughs, It's true, though. There's some guys that race their whole career and, get one win, it's that's what it is, and I raced for years, and I didn't have a lot of success with my driving, I had come up with some pretty funny nicknames. One of them, Larry, who spotted for us this weekend because our spotter Ray had some family issues to take care of, and then the next couple of weeks he's in the National Guard, so he's going to do some training for a couple of weeks. So I'm going to be bopping from spotter to spotter. If we can get Larry, then we use Larry. But Larry had spotted for us 2 years ago for the full season, which we had a really great season. He's a hell of a spotter. If he's ever available and somebody needs a spotter and he's there, tell you he's a really good spotter. So something you can use. But yeah, they used to call me Javi Wallbanger. One time they put a piece of duct tape over my name and wrote Javi Wallbanger. So anyway, pretty funny stuff. But yeah, I lost my track of thought. So hey, I mean that's what happens. I went running on to something else. I don't even remember, and you guys can't even help me because I can't see the chat, so you can't even tell me what I was talking about, which is pretty funny. But oh goodness, I don't even remember. I don't know. But yeah, so it'd be a great weekend. I wish I was going to be able to get to Waterford and watch, but I'll be on Race Monitor instead watching, which that's crazy because you never know. You see all of a sudden the caution comes out. You're like, oh, what's the caution for? Who's in it? You don't know. So, but that'll be fun. That'll be nice if you can get out there and run that car. I think that that is a Dale Shore chassis that Bobby bought, and I don't think Jacob has ever run one of Dale Shore's cars like that. So that'd be cool to see how he likes it. Then see how that goes, And, I was trying to think of what I wanted to say earlier, and it's just bothering me now. But that's what happens, Use your train of thought. But I do want to mention again that 7 o'clock. It's 6 now. 7 o'clock. Justin, my buddy, will be on the Side Draft podcast. Make sure you guys tune in. He's got his shit together. You know what I mean? Me, I don't. I got a cell phone over here, video and from Restream, and you know, uh, he's the real deal over there. He's got the the intro videos and music, and he knows how to pull stuff up on his laptop. And someday maybe we'll get to that point. But right now we're more like they call it IRL, in real life. So that's what we're doing. We're doing some IRL streaming. And hey, thanks for the thumbs up. I can't see who's there, but hey, I'm glad there's somebody watching. I can't even tell if there's anybody watching or not. But hey, I guess that's what you get. I'm just learning here. But yeah, like I was saying, I think I was saying something about me as an owner, and been around racing since the 92, 94. And like I said, we'll save that for another time. We'll talk a little bit about my my whole racing career, between actually driving, then becoming a car owner, transforming over to a car owner, and then taking a little what do they call it? Sciatis? No, maybe that's just, I don't even know. But it was away from Seacon for a while Rowdy was racing quarter midgets at the Little T. So he started, he was 4.5. He turned 5, on March, right before the racing started. So that was cool. And then he raced there 5 to I think 11. I think 6 years. He was 11 was his last year, because that's when we went down to North Carolina, and we hooked up with Joe Ryan Race Cars. It was a lot of legend stuff. He's the one who sets up Kevin Keelan Harvick's car. He works with Kevin Harvick and them on Kevin's son's car. And a bunch of other guys, Landon Lewis, you might have heard of him, and a bunch of other really good drivers. And he does a good job with those legends. But we have our own guy up here who's in battle with Joe anytime, Nicholas Scola. Nicholas Scola Racing. The guy is amazing with legend cars. If anybody is looking to have success in the legends, this guy here can bring you to victory lane for sure. When we first got our legend, after we went down and we went with Joe, we did a little test, and it was funny because Rowdy goes out the first time in the car, and he comes in, and I'm standing talking to somebody, and he goes to my father and his dad, and he's like, I don't like these cars. And he was afraid to tell me, and I was like, hey, Chief, don't worry about it. If you don't like them, you don't like them. This is why we're here, to see if you like them. I don't want to go out and buy a car and all of that, and then you don't like it. So this is why we're here. So we have the track for 2 days. I said, let's come back. I don't think it was his first time, but his first day there. And I said, let's come back. And he's 11 at the time, and I said, we'll come back and give it one more day since we have the track and see what happens. So the next day, instead of just having one car, Joe brought a second car, and he went out on the track with Jacob, and had Jacob follow him, and then he would let Jacob pass him, and then they started doing a little racing, and then he came in and he was hooked. He loved them, and he's been hooked ever since. He loves those legend cars. He loves them. He just loves racing them. And I've gotten in them. I don't. Those things are scary fast. I tell you. Hats off to all those young guys, young kids, older men, whoever that race those things. But those are sick. They're fast. They're low to the ground, and they're 5/8 scale cars. So whatever speeds you're going, it feels like twice as fast. I'm telling you, twice as fast. So, yeah, he's been hooked on those legend cars. He loves them.
You know, every, I don't know, for the last I don't know how many years, oh, this is my last year. This is my last year. But, you know, he just a true racer, just loves racing. And it was funny, we were talking, it's like he's raced pretty much everything. You know, I don't think he's run a bando, but he's run quarter midgets, he's run legend cars. He run an SK Light. We had rented one at Stafford. I don't know if it was last year, the year before. I think it was last year. He run an SK. He run late model. Run a Pro stock. He's run the Sportsman. The only thing he hasn't run is a Seacon sports truck. And he's like, I want to try one of them. I want to try one of them. So hopefully one day we can get him a ride in a sports truck and see how he does out there. You know, it'd be fun to watch him out there driving one of those. But yeah, so it's cool. Yeah, so he's been hooked on those legend cars ever since, and then we moved into the late models and went from you know one crew chief to another crew chief to another crew chief, and now it's a Timmy, which I should have learned a long time ago all of this stuff, the setup stuff, but between everything I do between my work and just maintenance on the cars and everything else, it's a lot. I mean, no excuses though, no excuses. I should learn, but I'm pretty content having Timmy there and having him work on the car. He's a really nice guy. We all get along good. We have some laughs when we're here. It's all fun, It's all fun. Him and Jacob seem to click. You know, we went to New Hampshire. A little, at first it was they weren't really being able to communicate the way they should. And we had a little team meeting, and we felt this is what we have to do. To make this team work. You know, you know, this sport is a team effort. You know what I mean? It is. It's a team effort, and you need to have, you want to vibes. Yes, good vibes. Everybody, you can't be having negativity. You gotta have positive. Something's okay. All right, let's take it. Let's look at it. Let's find a solution. It's not like go crazy, scream and yell, throw on whatever on the ground, a tape measure, and what the hell? No, that's not what we do. That's not what we do on this team, and that's not what we've ever done on our teams. And I think that's part of our success. You come there, everybody get along, everybody has a job. Trying it seems like every year we have new guys, but this year we have a good group of guys. Angelo on Jackman. We got Mark, who does, pretty much all, changing tires and, making sure, this is done, the fuel in, Mark, and then, our crew chief, Tim, obviously, and our spotter, Mikey Cooper. He's always there, jumps in, helps out, knows that you got two cars there. You just need the help. Even Larry, when he spotted for us last week, he was right there. Whatever he could do, helping changing tires, switching tires around. If you got two cars, you're trying to scuff tires for or whatever. You're switching tires from heat race tires to feature tires. You don't want to put all these laps on the tires and then go run a 60-lap race. So you run some old tires in the heat race. Try to get into that that top five. And which right now in the pro stock division, yeah, we only have we had like 16 cars, and I know Kenny unfortunately had a little incident, hit the wall. I don't know if he'll be back this week. I hope he would be. I like to have cars on the track. I don't want to go there, have 8 cars, 10 cars, and hey, we had a pro stock race. No, we need more cars. We need these guys, these cars to stay in one piece so they can come back the next week. And that's what has to happen. As these drivers, they're beating and banging on each other, wrecking their cars, and then they're at the shop working on them, fixing them, and then trying to get back to their setup. Think about what you're doing. Think about it. Think about am I really clear to make this pass? You know what I mean? Is it really, you're in the back, you're fighting for, fifth in the feature right now. You're going to drive it in there, smash the guy with your, right front or something, knock your toe out, for what? For fifth place, and you still got 20 laps to go? Take your time. If you have a fifth place car, that's what you got. Unless something happens up front with one of these guys that are faster. It always happens. The slower cars, they put them up front. You got to be patient, get by that stuff, and not get caught up in them. And then once you get out there, the cream rises to the top. So you get the faster guys go up to the top. Now, once you're, after that goes, what do we have? 40 laps? After, 10 or maybe 15, whatever, 20 laps, those guys are already in the back now. They've already got pushed to the back. And now you got the faster cars up front. Now if you have a fifth place car, don't force the issue to try to get into a third place spot and wreck you and wreck another car. Finish the race in a fifth place spot, and now you have something to work with. Okay, we didn't hit anything. The toe was still good. When you come back, you look at the car and you're like, okay, so now what do we do? What do we do to go from a fifth place car to a first place car? We need to make some changes. This is what we're going to do. Let's get some stuff set up so when we get to the track, we can try something. We can always go back to our fifth place setup, right? But let's try this or that in our practice. I think they gave us 3 rounds. So, go out there, in your fifth place stuff, see where you're at, throw the new stuff on there, see if it makes a difference. You might be surprised. And then you have something to work with. And who knows, maybe that fifth place car turns into a podium. I don't know. I believe, that you need to bring the cars home, without beating and banging them, keep them looking good. You don't need to be riding down the side of the guy's door, making him have to put a new wrap on his car, new numbers on his car, whatever it is, especially pro stocks and the late models. You guys are much better than that. You guys, you need to think about, what you're doing out there. And, everybody wants to win the race, but you're not going to win it driving through people. You're just not going to. It's not going to happen. And you start driving through people, we're going to have Lenny. Lenny will be there, right? Let him be on that radio yelling, that's it. One more time. You're going back 2 spots. Or you're going to the rear, and, it's hard for him to see everything. There's a lot going on out there. I know they have other people watching, but, you start doing that, and then he's watching you all the time. You want that? No, you don't want that. You want to drive clean. You want him to look at somebody else that's doing that crap. But yeah, so I'm heading up to Vermont this weekend. Visit my outlaws, I call them, my in-laws. My wife, we're going to have a relaxing weekend. Sit by the, hopefully, if it doesn't rain, we'll sit by the pond, light a fire or something, and relax. And then we come back and get ready for next week. Is it next? I'm not even sure. Is it? I think it is, right? Next week is the oh God, Triple Crown for the late models. Oh yeah, back to the Triple Crown, right? I was telling you, I was showing you that trophy. Then I had forgot. I wanted to show you the Triple Crown because there was a story to that Triple Crown trophy, right? So I'm sure you guys have seen the Triple Crown trophies, but I'm going to show you anyway. If you look up there on the where are we? Right there on the very, very end. It's green. It's green. It says Triple Crown. So we got one of those, and we got that big trophy. If you haven't seen it, if you just came on, I'll show you that trophy. Again, it's right over here. I have it inside because I'm trying to get some room to put some of the stuff. And I'm not trying to sound like, oh yeah, but it is what it is. So this was the one we got. So Jacob kept this one. Wow, that's a cool trophy. And the kind of person Jacob is, he's done this a lot of times. He's done it. I mean, I don't know how many times he did it at Waterford, other places for, when he drives for Nick, he does, same thing. But he gave the Triple Crown trophy to Tim Potter, our spotter, for him, as memories of what success he's had. Timmy, I'm talking about with working with us racing, which is is big, yeah, that's the kind of heart, it's the kind of kid, I should say young man, he just turned 19. That Jacob is, I think that sets him apart from other race car drivers, like that. I mean, he's given trophies away. I don't know how many times. I can't even say. Like he's done them at Waterford. Just there's some people, kids that come over. Um, so he's not all about collecting the hardware. He's all about racing. He just he'd rather be in a car racing than having all these trophies. I believe. I mean, he wants to win, but he doesn't. He's not like I got to keep this trophy. I got to keep that. He just wants to be out there driving. He'll drive pretty much anything. Like I said, though, he wants to try to get himself in a sports truck or a pro truck or whatever he can, a truck, which would be pretty cool if we can get him a ride in one of those one Saturday. Preferably when we're not running the elite model. That would be the best because then you can go truck, have a little bit off, and then go into pro stock. But anyways, again, what is it? It's like almost 20 past. Like I said, I wanted to cut out a little early. I was originally saying 5 to 7, but I didn't realize, Justin was coming on at 7, and I want to have him to have full, viewers, because like I said before, he is the real deal when it comes to these podcasts, and I hope to get him over here to help me one day a little bit, to give me some tips and pointers and some stuff. And then hopefully once I start doing that and I can do that, maybe we can collaborate, be on together, when he's on, I can come on and we can talk a little bit about, when he's doing the racing part of his show. Like I said, he's going to be doing like all sports. I'm not 100% like if he's doing professional, if he's just doing local. I'm not sure, but if you stay tuned and 7 o'clock, you get on and go to the Side Draft Podcast. That's the Side Draft Podcast. And watch Justin. And Justin Jr. is going to be on today. They're going to be, I believe, talking about his success in the flag football league. His son's the quarterback. And the videos I watch, the kid is just like a natural, so, everybody has their thing, some kids are great at different sports, football, baseball, some of them racing, some of them are good with computers, it don't matter, uh, it's all good, but I really believe nowadays it's crazy. Like, we were younger, everybody was outside. Now, like, if I'm driving down, I see kids outside playing basketball. I'm like, yeah, I'll roll down my window. All right, kids on bicycles, playing, We used to have our bicycle gangs when we were younger, We used to everybody would meet. We'd ride around on our bikes like we were a motorcycle gang, you know what I mean? See what kind of trouble we could get into, We didn't want to come home. We didn't want to be in the house. But, then we didn't have, like, the computer stuff they have now. Maybe if we did, we would have been, but so it's good, to see the kids out there playing sports, and it's just good. It's healthy. It's healthy for them. It's good for the family. Gets the family out there, whether like I said, whether it's racing, local football, baseball, your family, your friends come to watch. It's a great thing, But like I said, I think next week, probably the next podcast we have will be, I don't know, maybe it'll be Wednesday. I don't know. I'll put something up to let you guys know when we will, when we'll be doing that, going live. That next week, maybe we'll talk a little bit, like I said, about my racing career, how it started from, driving to being a car owner. talk a little bit about, some of the success we had in the pro stock division when we had Freddie at the wheel. It's funny though, you know, Rowdy started coming to Seacon Speedway when he was 1 year old. And now if I had all that special stuff, with the computer, I could pull up the picture and show you. But I have a picture, or pictures, a lot of them. But I have one that he's in Victory Lane with Freddie. Freddie's holding him in his arms, right? And one arm, like, he's holding him in his arm like this, and he has the flag in the other hand. And Jacob's just got a big smile. And he used to watch Freddie drive. And he was one of those kids. He played with his cars, but when Freddie was out there, that was it. He's standing up. I have pictures of him watching, and he's just watching him. And now I watch him when he drives. He reminds me of the way Freddie used to drive on that outside. Freddie would go to the outside, and that would be it. Inch by inch by inch. He'd be patient. He would go out there, he wouldn't get you maybe that lap. He'd get a little bit on you. Then the next lap, he'd get a little more on you. And I watch Rowdy race, and it goes back to, when it was like 2008, 9, 10, something like that. That's when we were running. And watching Freddie run the McCallum car I had, and Rowdy be watching him, and now when I see it, it's like, wow. I've had a few other people come up and say, yeah, man, he runs that outside, it looks kind of like when Freddie used to run it. But it's funny. So a little fun fact, right? So when he used to have all those little race cars, right? And we used to set up, like we'd be at the house, and he would set up a little racetrack, and he'd be like, okay, they're gonna race, and he'd be like, okay, this is, here's Freddie, and Freddie's, coming through the field, and and then and then his nemesis was Scully. So Freddie would be, Jacob be like, oh no, bang, Scully crashes, Scully's in the wall. So every once in a while, he'd make me be the Scully con. I'd try to get around him, and he'd smash me off the track, So now, what the funny part is he'd be back there. He would be rooting, Freddie would be in the 30, in the little cars, and Scully, and didn't want Scully to win. And now, in the pro stock, which used to be Tom Scully Jr.'s car, he's driving Tom Scully's car, and racing, and winning races, and driving like Freddie. So he's driving Scully's car like Freddie. And back then it was just like, it's just crazy how things change. Times change. We go from Jacob watching, that was 2008. So what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that's 17 years ago. Yeah, so Jacob was like 1.5, because he just turned 19. So yeah, 2008. He was watching that. So he went from watching Freddie drive pro stocks to now racing a pro stock with a 30 on it. And we've kept the number 30 on it because that's what we've had on the pro stocks when Freddie was driving. And Jacob liked the 13, so that's what he put on the Legend. Back in the day, my number was 65. I had some other numbers. The pro stock, I think I had 88 or 8. I think 8. My rookie year was 2001, and it was the number 8. But anyway, enough about that. So that's pretty cool. That was some pretty cool stuff. 17 years later, he's driving a pro stock. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. But anyway, I'm gonna be signing off. I'm glad you guys watched. I hope we had a bunch of people watching. Like I said, I'm on this app called Restream that it streams from this to YouTube, and then I tried, which I don't know if it's happening or not, to link the YouTube with Facebook, so that when I was on, you'd be able to see on Facebook. But I don't know if that worked. I see a thumbs up. Does that mean it worked? That's all I can see is thumbs up. Give me another thumbs up if you guys are seeing me on Facebook. One more. Just give me a thumbs up if you're seeing me on Facebook. No, you're not. Probably just seeing me on YouTube. Well, we'll try to fix that. Like I said, I'm hoping that I can pick Justin's brain one day, hopefully soon, to get that done. But we're gonna sign off in a little, about a half hour, a little more than half, 33 minutes, whatever it is, 34 minutes. The Side Draft podcast will be live, and I think he's got his stuff shit together. He'll be probably live on YouTube and on Facebook because he knows what he's doing, and I don't, but I will someday soon, hopefully. But yeah, take a little break, get yourself something to drink, and you get ready for a great podcast, the Side Draft podcast. If you guys are not subscribed, go to YouTube, the Side Draft Podcast. Hit the subscribe button. It's free to subscribe. Same here, Rough and Rowdy Podcast. Go there, hit the subscribe button. It's free. I think once I get enough subscribers, I can go live right from YouTube, which will be a lot easier, I think. I don't know. Like I said, I'm still learning. But thank you guys all for joining, guys and girls, all for joining. And I hope you enjoyed this podcast. And we'll be back soon. We'll see you at the races.